Senator Jacqui Lambie is the single mum and former soldier who threw her hat into the political ring and never looked back. Love her or hate her, whether it's veterans' rights, social welfare, drugs or burqas, Jacqui Lambie is prepared to make some noise. And she poses for selfies in the strangest places. I caught up with her in Hobart. Tasmania, known for its rugged landscapes, its fine local produce and its firebrand senator, Jacqui Lambie.
Stop playing the victim. Instead of worrying about up here, running around after the politicians, get out there and get your damn job done.
Jacqui, when I visited you in Tassie, you're like a rock star there, so...
Someone said Jacqui Lambie said, come on down.
Katy Perry?
Not like that, no. Cross between Katy Perry and Nana Muscuri. But...
Jacqui, thanks for your time. Good to talk with you.
Oh, you too. Thank you for having me.
You are coming up for 3 years in office this year. What have you learned?
Oh, geez, 3 years. Is that all? It feels like about 30. To be honest, I absolutely knew nothing about Parliament or about politics, and I thought, no, if I can just get on the inside, I'll be able to work it out. I think out of all that, I've learnt that the country's under pretty bad leadership and has been for a very, very long time. I just think the leadership options that you have up there in Parliament right now are probably not the good ones for the future.
What should Malcolm Turnbull and Bill Shorten be learning from the fact that you've been voted in? There is this mood out there in the electorate.
They're still thinking, well, you know, these crossbenchers and they'll just die out, you know, that's how it'll work. And I'd suggest they come to grips with what is actually going on. Otherwise, they may find that in years to come and in a very short period of time, I would imagine, that if they don't change their ways and they don't do something, they will no longer be one of the major parties up there.
What do you think of Pauline Hanson?
It's like a slow dying death of Palmer United, but it's just happening in a slower momentum. So obviously the welfare cuts that went through in those last few weeks, she voted for those. To cut down on those and then want to give it to childcare and that, I just don't think she's heading in the right direction. If you want to help the battler out, then start fighting like hell for the battler, because they could do with a helping hand out there.
Well, do you think that One Nation is not going to last?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put some money on One Nation lasting. I'll put it that way. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the next 12 months or 6 months probably rolls out for them.
You said that when you come to Hobart, you stay at a tradies pub and they knock on your door in the middle of the night.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
In your pyjamas.
Yeah, when they've got a little bit of Dutch courage in them, and ask me to come down and have a beer. So that's happened a few times in my flannelette pyjamas. I'm sure I'm looking good with makeup splurred all over my face and my duck flannelette pyjamas.
Your duck flannelette pyjamas?
Yeah, I've got duck ones and cow ones and moo cows, you know, it's all very fun. And they'll go, come and have a beer with us. And I go, no, mate, I've got appointments in the morning, sorry about that. Oh, at least give us a selfie. You know, and you go, in my flannelette pyjamas, mate, yeah. So have it, you know, and they go, no, you're just beautiful. And I go, you have a few more beers, mate. By 2 o'clock, I'll be looking wonderful. You know,
Do you pose for selfies with strange blokes in your duck flannelette
pyjamas?
pyjamas?
I do. Yeah, and I wonder why I can't get to first base. Yeah.
A self-confessed teenage ratbag, Jacqui joined the army at 18. 10 years on, she was medically discharged with a chronic back injury. There began a spiral into poverty, depression, and eventually attempted suicide.
There were times when I had to say no to my son, who was great at football and great at athletics and great at basketball, and who had the advantage of being able to represent his state, and telling him on 2 occasions, I'm sorry, mate, but you can't go, because I can't afford for you to go.
You made a very powerful speech not so long ago, defending welfare. It was very personal, it was very powerful, and it was very emotional. And I watched that and thought, here is a woman who has been at the bottom of the crap heap, as you said, and now she's not. But if you scratch the surface, that woman isn't too far buried, is she? That woman that you were.
No, and I think that I think because it was such a long period of time, it wasn't just 1 or 2 years, and I think I basically lost 10 years of my life. because that keeps me grounded. I don't want to forget what I went through, because I just don't believe that I can help those people if I start to let go of that either.
There were times when I would sit in a corner and cry because I felt so ashamed. For 2 days I didn't know how I was going to put bread and milk on the table. There was a time when my fridge broke, and for 3 weeks we lived out of an esky, and I put the esky under the house so the ice would last longer.
Is it hard to make yourself that vulnerable and so publicly?
You just get to a point when you, like I was the other night in the Senate, and you're that angry and you're just like, you people just don't understand it. I'm hitting my head against a brick wall and you go, that's it, I'm loading up and off you go.
It is not a choice for many of us to be on welfare. It is shameful and it is embarrassing. And it is bloody tough. But we do it, not because we want to, but because circumstances put us there. And for you to take more money off those people, you have no idea how bloody tough it is. Every little cent counts to those people. What you are doing is shameful. And if you really realise the damage that you are continually doing to that part of society, you would stop doing it.
There might be that one person sitting there of a night time that's seen that and actually had a good cry and went, you know what, I don't feel so alone now. So if that's impacted on one person's life, then, you know, I'm just not sure what else I'm supposed to do. But I'm not going to hide my experiences in life. Because of those experiences, I'm where I am today.
I'm a Senator of Australia and I have a 21-year-old son that has a problem with ice. And yet, even with my title, I have no control over my son. I can't involuntarily detox my own son.
Did you plan to out Dylan as an ice addict? Was that ad lib, or did you know you were going to do that in that speech?
I had run out of options. I didn't know where to go. I thought, how do you combat this ice? I had a gap in my speech, a 2-line gap, where it said, if you want to go, go now, basically. And I sort of got to that, and I think if you look back, I probably hesitated for a few seconds, and I just went, got to bite the bullet. Anyway, so I think it was well worth doing. Dylan's still a little annoyed about it.
Still, is he?
Yeah, he's still a little annoyed, and I keep saying to him, but mate, bottom line is, because he's more that got out into the media, I said, mate, you were going to court like 6 weeks after that. Well, you were going to be front page news anyway, sweetheart.
Dylan has now been clean for more than 15 months. Are you confident that he will never experiment again or use again?
I'm not delusional because I know the hold that ice has. I could just about say 99%. I'm sure that Dylan will get through it and he will be a much better person out of it, and that's fine. But as a mother, still like to make sure that I'm just being vigilant and aware of what is going on around Dylan and doing what I can. But Dylan's very much like me, very bloody independent, which sometimes can go against us. Gotta love the boutique beers.
You do.
They're paying too tax, but they're paying too much tax for it.
Yeah.
We need to reduce the tax so you guys get it cheaper, you can drink more. See, there you go.
Okay, you get a selfie now.
Oh, there you go, Tracy. There you go.
We've talked about Dylan, but your other son, Brenton, has enlisted in the Army. How do you feel about that, given that your experience in the Army didn't end so well?
Oh, yeah, no, he'll be right. No, he'll be right. Brenton can look after his own. I know there's still abuse and all that sort of stuff going on in the military. You'd have to be an absolute moron to go bricking my son in the military. I understand if he needs to be disciplined, that's fine, but to brick him and abuse him or anything like that, you'd have to be an absolute idiot that I wasn't going to stand up in the Senate and bring you down like a ton of bricks. You start crossing that line and you start taking abuse out on him or whatever else because I'm his mother, then, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
We've just heard about a young medic in Afghanistan who attempted suicide recently because she felt that she was being bullied, she felt that there was a bullying culture and she felt she wasn't good enough. Is there a culture problem in the Army? And can you ever stamp that out?
Yeah, there is a culture problem in the Army. Men are not very good at that side of life. I think most people would agree. They don't like to talk about their feelings. They certainly don't like to talk about their emotions. So how are they cutting down abuse in the military?
See, I always imagine when I hear they're going to address this culture, I always imagine that this is what is said publicly, and that privately the view is this is a tough game, this is largely a man's game, and the battlefield is no place for sissies.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's no different if you get injured. It is a culture in the army, so it's not just about bullying and abuse and harassment. It's also about when they get hurt, both physically and psychologically. They don't want to come forward and report it. The officers will look after officers, that's the way it is. And if you muck up in the armed forces, they'll either post you out or they'll give you a promotion. That's how it works.
So does it make you angry when you hear about this young woman in Afghanistan?
Yeah, it makes me bloody angry. I know what I mean. This is a medic. You're the first port of call we come to with our physical and psychological injuries, or if we've got abuse to report, we usually go to the medical corps or to the GPs within that area. And if she's getting abuse in that area, it's like, well, blow me out, although it doesn't surprise me. I'll be brutally honest with you. If you don't come out and show them that you're not going to put up with their crap, they're like a pack. They work in packs. That's how it works, and they'll take you out.
Who's going to win the next election, do you think?
Yeah, it'll be Bill Shorten. Yeah.
And how will you feel about that?
I've always had a really good relationship with Bill right from the time I've been up there.
Would you rather work with Bill Shorten as PM or Malcolm Turnbull as PM?
I can work with either one, to be honest.
Are you still going to be around in 10 years, in 15 years, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would really like to stay on, but I'm also very aware of the situation with my back and whether or not that will hold out for that long.
What shots are you having in your back and what toll do they take?
I have derivation shots, so basically I have them anywhere between 6 to 9 months, and they put me on a table and put me out to it, and what they do is they burn the end of the nerve endings.
Yeah.
And in those same areas I also have Botox shots in there every 3 months to stay on my feet.
Were you joking when you said that you wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars? Was that just a throw?
Oh, no, I would have loved to, but I can't do it because of my back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's not on air anymore, but of course there's Married at First Sight. I could probably get you a gig on that.
Don't you start that. That's like one of my social media girls. She's very big on social media. She goes, you know, you should go on The Bachelorette or something. I go, yeah, no, I don't think so. I imagine that'd be interesting. I'll be very truthful and be like, well, you've had 10 minutes, mate, nick off.
I would love to see who the psychologists matched you up with. I'm married.
It could be scary, couldn't it?
Senator Lambie is also working on her biography to be released later in the year.